There are a lot of trends that are pretty consistent around work-life integration. I say integration rather than balance. I kind of think that's a myth. They, we are, as all law firms, I think, seeing this trend where from first years on up, there's a desire to kind of pay off law school debt, especially in the US where there's heavy debt, and go in-house or do something else. And we don't necessarily see the long-term investment. And I think it can be a really satisfying career, but the generational trend is it's not worth it. I don't want to have these emails coming in at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And there's a generation above where that's all we knew. So I think there's a rejection of this sense that everything's an emergency, that there's a 24/7 work culture. It's been exacerbated with COVID because with people working at home, they don't have that same separation where they could turn off their phone. Now they have to turn off their phone and their iPad and their computer, and the computer's right down the hallway. And so it's very hard to say, oh, well, I don't have access to my computer right now. So that's a big part of it. I think also we are seeing alternative tracks. Some firms are doing them more frequently than others. And that's another trend that is making it harder to become partner. And so for those that have been at firms 5 and 6 years and say, yeah, I've done this, I want to make partner. I'm a type A goal-oriented person. In some cases, it's gotten a longer track and it's also more competitive. And then there's this kind of additional fear that after 5 or 6 years, you'll be relegated to this alternative track. And we want to be careful that that's equitable as well from a DEI standpoint. But we also want to make sure that we're giving that option as a good option for people that like the work, but maybe don't want to develop the client relationships or that book of business. And so we want to make sure that we have some viable, respected options built into our business models. And so that's a trend that's kind of been a little bumpy because every time there's a downturn, firms think, oh, well, okay, that should be the first to go. But those can be very profitable for law firms as well and very valuable to clients because they're highly trained individuals if they're at the senior levels. So I think that's another trend. We see the up and down, and over time, there's getting to be more consistency in those alternative tracks as options for people.